Hello, Earthlings. It's time to reset your cultural dial. Coming your way next on your favorite device, from the Hoosier State to all the ships at sea, it's the Crawfordsville Peachcast. And now, here's your second or third favorite Dave from Indiana, Dave Peach. Warning, other people named Dave may also appear.
Thanks, CD. This is the Crawfordsville Peachcast. I'm Dave Peach.
I'm Dave Meyer. Dave, how are you, sir?
Dave, I'm doing good. We are getting some storms, so you might hear a thunder boomer here on mic.
Dave, one of my favorite
I
AM
am not
radio.
in a soundproof booth, so you're going to say something about AM radio, I predict.
Dave, the soundstage there is of course airtight, but Mother Nature can be tricky with her thunder boomers, Dave. I love the thunder boomers. Where did that? How far does that go back, Dave?
I would say probably. A TV weather person maybe in the 70s had the thunder boomer thing.
It feels like the 70s, Dave. Maybe Bob McLean when he was still wearing the leisure suits.
Central Indiana Rubber Products provides the power for you. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, keeps farm equipment and local manufacturing processes running with gaskets, belts, seals, and O-rings, among a variety of other products and services. Employee-owned and always customer-focused. Central Indiana Rubber Products, 989 West, 83 North, Crawfordsville, and at indianarubber.com. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, power for you. Today, we go back to 1973, The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing. Now, you got to say the movie right. This is movie number 87. This is season 5. You don't want to say The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing, because that would you'd think, okay, he likes watching.
That's a weird hobby.
He likes to watch cats dance. But it's the name of a human being that you find out when you watch the movie. So it's like the man who loved, Britney Spears.
Right.
You wouldn't say the man who loved Britney Spears, or, whatever you would say, cat dancing, emphasizing with Britney Spears.
Right. Yeah. It's a different, first of all, great title, right?
The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing.
Yes, it's a great title. It could be the best part of the whole movie, Dave. It could be. But let's talk about, great title, came from a book that got very hot, and people competed for the rights to make a movie on it, even, I think, before she was fully done. But what do we know about the origin story, Dave?
Well, Marilyn Durham is from Evansville, Indiana. I assume Marilyn is she still alive? I don't know.
I believe she was in her 60s, Dave.
Yeah,
so she would be. We'd know about her.
She's
she would have been on
years
the
old
Today
now.
Show a long time ago.
Yeah. So Marilyn Durham wrote the book in Evansville, and I guess she had never been to the western part of the United States. Just kind of came up with it, man. Pretty good deal.
Apparently. And the New York Times called the book beautifully executed. It became a bestseller. And so that was, I'm sure, a boom for Marilyn.
It was seen as a movie that was one of the first, somebody said in a video, the first movie, I guess the first women's liberation Western made movie thing.
Right. No, I did read about that. It's considered.
Did I say that well? I thought that was well
think
put.
so.
Yeah, I think I really.
No, I do, Dave.
I wordsmithed that one really well.
I'd say this. It's not. It's not a happy movie. But it probably does shine a light on some things that possibly, I don't know, other movies had either glossed over or glorified, or maybe not presented as starkly. But definitely the woman, an independent woman trying to live an independent life, I guess, is big part of the central narrative of this story, I guess.
We will talk about the cast. Burt Reynolds is Jay Grobert, and Burt was probably fourth or fifth on the list as far as actors to play this role. We're really getting into the weeds here. We don't normally do this, but Burt was not the top pick.
Burt was not the top. They were originally talking about the ideal casting was going to be Steve McQueen and Ali MacGraw. So
that would have been
different.
right in you talk about Ali MacGraw in 1973. That would have been like getting Sydney Sweeney.
Yes, exactly.
Like my son always gets on me for mentioning Sydney Sweeney, so I'm going to try to put her in every episode that I possibly can.
We can, Dave. No, other names, at least for the female lead, Jane Fonda, again, who probably very high up the list. Candice Bergen, who we later got to know as Murphy Brown.
Mm-hmm.
But she, at this time, had done, what was the movie she was in? Carnal Knowledge, I think, with Jack Nicholson and Art Garfunkel, Dave.
I don't know much, but I know that Art Garfunkel was in a movie.
And that, Dave, I don't know how many movies Art was in. I don't think it's a less than one hand deal.
What is it about duos that there's like always one dominant person in the duo in most duos? And it's like,
yeah,
there's an Andrew Ridgely, there's a Philip Michael Thomas.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe Brooks and Dunn are balanced. Maybe Hall and Oates are a little more balanced. Maybe the Judds were a little more balanced, but
daughter
Sonny and Cher, Sonny, later, Sonny couldn't have taken out the garbage effectively for people, like he can't even take out the garbage. But anyway, we digress.
But this was
Art Garfunkel got us down that one. I'm sorry. Art.
That's my fault, Dave. What we're saying here, though, is that this was, in its time, basically hot media content. And, Burt may have been down on the list. Hot media content. Coming down. And, Dave, you know that.
I got your hot media content here.
It's because, Dave, if nothing else, the presence of George Hamilton.
What is hot media content? Explain that for me.
I would say something that the public fancies that they want to get more of quickly.
Okay. So we got Lee J. Cobb, Harvey Lapchance.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a very good voice. Jack,
oh, yes.
Jack Warden plays Dawes, and Jack is a heavy in this one.
Jack is a heavy.
He ain't holding a saxophone in the locker room of the L.A. Rams when Warren Beatty comes back as another human being.
No.
He wasn't Jack Warden also the president in Being There?
Yes.
I think he was. I think he was the president.
He was.
And I think he was in another one, maybe a later movie with one of those SNL stars or something like that. We could look that up.
I think didn't he show up with Adam Sandler, maybe in
something like that.
Waterboy or something like that.
Maybe we'll have to look that up. You'll look that up.
Okay.
It was one of those like Adam Sandberg or one of those movies like the Hot Rod or something like that. I could be wrong, but
it was
one of those later movies.
The early iterations.
Okay, George Hamilton, Willard Crocker. His wife is Sarah Miles, Catherine Crocker in the movie. Bo Hopkins, Billy Bowen. And when I saw Bo Hopkins come up on this, I go, oh, that's why he was on Password Plus. Because I didn't know anything else that really, but I assume Bo Hopkins has done other things. And then, of course, Jay Silverheels as the chief.
Okay, let's talk about Dave. His Star Trek was his makeup was a little Star Trek to me.
Jay Silverheels.
Didn't you feel that?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's almost like they wanted to make him be a little like a little Cro-Magnon-ish, and it was a little creepy, Dave. I'm looking at the Jack Warden.
Thank goodness, because I was going to look it up myself, but I've got a podcast to host.
You have a podcast host, my friend. I want to tell you that in the year 2000, the movie The Replacements
Okay, he was in that
The
one.
Replacements was a Jack Warden.
Beyond Poseidon Adventure. There we go.
There we go. Now we're in the territory.
That is one of ours. Being There, President Bobby of the United States. That's 1979. Actually, that was the same year as Beyond the Poseidon Adventure. So
Jack had a busy year.
2 untoasted movies for Jack there. I think that was it. Oh, Bulworth. Bulworth,
Dave. That was it near.
That's the one I'm probably thinking of. Bulworth. Oh, Dirty Work.
He
was in Dirty Work.
Okay, there you go.
Norm
That's what you were
Macdonald.
thinking.
Yes.
That's what you were thinking.
This guy has been in so many untoasted movies. I mean, how many did I name there?
Dave, a lot. And I want to say, I feel like he'll be in more.
Bulworth and Dirty Work were in the same year, 1998.
We do that,
This
Dave.
is incredible.
Jack Warden spans the entire catalog of untoasted movies.
Let's get him on the phone here. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Yes, calling for Jack Warden. Jack Warden.
Claudia, get me Jack.
Get Jack Warden on the horn here. We've done 8 of his movies. We need to talk to him immediately.
We've got some questions about While You Were Sleeping.
I did also hear that Jack Warden and Burt Reynolds did their own stunts in this movie, and they actually roughed each other up. And of course, Burt Reynolds, well known for injuring himself on different different sets, including Dan August.
Yes,
and on this one, he busted himself up, and so
they did
fighting, they did their own fighting, and it was some of that good fighting that we like to see.
Well, and I also
doing more of my wordsmithing.
You're doing a good job,
wordsmithing.
They did their scenes where they are trying to kill each other toward the end of the movie it was a long one. I mean, they were going at it pretty good.
Filmed in Mountain Valley, Utah, Gila Bend, Arizona. They stayed at the Travel Lodge in Gila Bend, Arizona when they're filming this. We'll have more on that later. But are we back in the Southwest again? Is Utah the Southwest, or what is Utah?
Utah is a big state with mountains.
But what do they call Utah? It's not the Southwest.
No, it's not the Southwest. It would be the Mountain West, I would say.
The Mountain West. Okay.
Or
the Mountain West.
We have dimming lights here, Dave. That's never a good sign in the room.
You sound good to me.
Okay, and that's all we need.
I can't see that. So, again, we're kind of in that we're in that Arizona, Utah, dusty. We're back to dusty.
It is dusty. We have some elevation, but it's dark and dusty.
True Grit, Extreme Prejudice, Tin Cup, Fast Break, and a man who loved cat dancing. All that.
Dave,
I can taste the dust. I can taste the dust.
And there aren't a lot of happy people in this movie.
Oh, don't forget the Last Picture Show.
Oh, yeah. That was dusty. That may be the dustiest.
I knew there was another one there.
It was.
And, of course, Dave, Jack Warden was in that movie, The Last Picture Show.
I think I remember him stripping on the diving board.
I don't think he was in that one. Did he fight Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull? I'm just throwing stuff out there, folks. I'm just throwing it out there.
He did, Dave.
Never underestimate the movies that Jack Warden is in. In fact, I think what's happening here, guys, folks, if I can tell you, if you've heard of this Mandela effect, I think they're actually seeding Jack Warden appearances in movies in the time-space continuum that Dave and I are in right now, the parallel universe that we reside in.
And Dave, we're comfortable with that.
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
I think, someday the two of us, along with Kreskin, will have that conversation with Jack Warden.
He might have fallen down a staircase in The Housemaid.
It's possible.
Yeah. Is that what it's called? The Housemaid?
Yes, The Housemaid. Sylvia.
Okay.
Sydney.
And that movie was Sydney Sweeney. Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney.
Okay. Well, we got The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing. We got a movie that we're going to talk about here.
We do.
And we start with a train robbery.
We do, Dave. So we immediately established
did we
that
go
Burt
over the
Reynolds,
budget? The budget was $3 million. It made $3.6 million. So that is
people weren't no cartwheels.
That's more than The Amazing Buck Howard, about 3 times more than The Amazing Buck Howard, and Living in Oblivion.
Okay, so there you go. right there.
Here we go. Movie starts with a train robbery.
Starts with a train robbery. I would say my first thoughts were, has all the elements of a great Western, right? These, these great visuals and, we start out with, an event.
You've got a John Williams soundtrack.
We had a John Williams soundtrack.
John Williams soundtrack.
So immediately Burt and this group of guys, including our buddy Jack Warden and Bo Hopkins, and
that's why he's on Password Plus.
Yeah, because of that right there. They're robbing, Dave. And early on, we realize like Burt's not totally bad because he doesn't want to have anybody harmed, right?
Okay, I don't get this. Burt Reynolds is made out to be some sort of a hero, but he was the mastermind of a train robbery where somebody got killed. Oh, it's not my fault he got killed. Well, because of your plan, somebody got killed.
Yes, Dave.
Okay, Burt. And I don't care how it worked out, but you got somebody killed because of a train robbery, which is illegal. Why are you such a hero in Lee J. Cobb's mind?
Yeah, I think
Mr. Lap Chance, I ask you that question.
I think somehow whatever the backstory that involved his military service, that was enough that made him somehow stand out, I guess. And it also showed at one point they basically meet up with a guy who was under his command. None of this stuff goes well, right?
Am I supposed to read the book? Are they writing is the movie for the people that wrote the book that know the backstory and why, Mrs. Crocker, Sarah Miles, Catherine Crocker, why she is exactly running, what it is exactly that she's running, what's the reason that she's running from her husband?
Yeah, no,
the backstory of Burt Reynolds being this super war hero that everybody can put up with the fact that he'd been involved in a few little things that ended up in people losing their life, but he's a great guy.
And Dave,
he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Whatever it was that he wouldn't do, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Not Mr. Grobart. He wouldn't do that.
No, maybe someday people will. So we established that we should have either empathy or respect or something for Burt Reynolds' character, who doesn't really show you, other than basically a few times he sticks up for the woman with the lesser of the characters. Yeah. But in the end, Dave, what we reveal about the Jay Grobart character is that he's even worse than we thought.
Well, did he? Well, I still don't know.
We're going to get there. We'll get there.
But. And, oh, by the way, $100,000 is stolen. A married lady shows up right when this here robbery takes place.
Yes, a married lady with an accent. Mm-hmm. And she's not dressed of the local gentry, and
she's got one of those umbrellas.
She has a fancy umbrella. It's kind of I'd say a bluish purple outfit of sorts.
One thing I got to think about here. I'm thinking about this. Okay, and this just popped into my mind. Okay.
Yes.
How long can you hold that umbrella while you're riding a horse? Dave. I mean, your arms got to be getting tired.
Oh God, I'm feeling right here in my forearm.
Couldn't somebody have invented the amazing umbrella holder while you're riding a horse gadget, and so she wouldn't have to do
Dave,
that?
It's also the idea of holding it while you're bouncing on a horse, and I believe now. The degree of difficulty even further in that, I think in that first shot, she's riding side saddle.
Yeah.
So I think it would be even tougher without your legs to help you balance.
I don't know but they made them.
They did it,
They made
Dave.
him.
They got away with it.
So she kind of gets caught up in the train. We're on another train again. Remember, runaway train. There's a lady that showed up there.
Right.
So
Yes.
kind of the same thing.
Yes.
Let's see. Lap Chance knows all, sees all. Grobart has a mysterious past, amid being some kind of war hero. Lee J wonders about Willard Crocker and what exactly is going on there that a woman would leave all of the great things that Willard Crocker could provide. Why would a lady of luxury leave this hunk of charged water?
Now, the name Crocker, Dave.
Something doesn't add up. The name Crocker, Dave.
Because let's go back to the movie The Candidate when the guy that ran against Robert Redford, Crocker Jarman, Dave.
Oh, that's right. Who was Crocker Jarman?
Who is Crocker Jarman? He was the guy that ran against.
I know.
I remember the actor.
Who played him?
I don't know. He was
Peter Boyle was in that movie. I know that.
Peter Boyle was his campaign manager. We are deviating so.
I don't
so
think Crocker
much, Dave.
Jarman. I don't think he got.
He doesn't play a role in this movie, but
okay.
the movie name Crocker, and especially if you combine it with Willard, like, because I mean George Hamilton looks like a pretty boy at
Lap
this point.
Chance.
So I think to offset George Hamilton's, because he almost had like a his hair almost was curled as it came down underneath a very fine hat and a fancy gun.
I was thinking about George Hamilton and
As we do.
Warren Beatty. They're kind of around at the same time, right?
I imagine, if George was in the running, he lost a lot of those.
I was going to say like Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes.
Lost that one.
Yes.
Let's see. The posse is formed.
Mm-hmm.
They have a camp. The posse people have a camp. That's with Lap Chance and Willard Crocker.
And Lap Chance works for like the bank or something, basically. Like
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo. Yes,
Wells
exactly.
Fargo. I like the fact they took out the telegraph.
Right.
That's
Shows
cool.
that these guys are thinking.
Do you work for the telegraph company? I do today.
Bo was
the
being
wire
funny, Dave.
so they couldn't communicate.
Oh boy.
Let's see. We don't have a runaway train to worry about.
We do not have that.
They just blow it up, and everybody's cool. But Grobart and the robbers and the lady, the wife of Willard Crocker, they have a camp.
They do.
And the Native Americans have a camp.
Yes.
They have a camp.
Yeah.
So a lot of camping. We just kind of drive. We just kind of ride the horses. We go camping. Nobody in the Grobart party can be trusted.
Correct.
And Willard Crocker, can't be trusted because he's done something that we don't really know what. We know it did not involve any scarring of his face, though.
No scarring of the face, but his wife was willing to steal a horse and go riding to anywhere but where her husband would be. And irony, of course, as we get to the end of the movie, we'll talk about how their relationship was resolved, I guess.
Women are women, men are men. They meet, they go see Cousin Eddie and his wife, and they get new They got to get horses from Cousin Eddie.
They got to get new horses.
And for some reason, they feel they go a little biblical, and they pretend to be married, kind of like Abraham and his wife.
Yeah.
And he pretended to be her sister. That's right. They pretended not to be married. In this story,
right,
it is Burt Reynolds pretending to be married to Mrs. Crocker, but nobody bought it.
Yeah, Mrs. Crocker, Catherine. Basically, when she gets in with the wife asks her, and she doesn't know basically the backstory. So then basically Eddie's wife fills her in. And she learns then when she says her name's Kat or Catherine, short for Catherine, she learns about Bert's first wife, cat dancing, and the fact that he has children, and the fact that his first wife is deceased, and the fact that his first wife, what she learns there is his first wife was raped and murdered, and that Burt J avenged this by killing whoever the guy that did this was.
Some lines along the way. Never try to bribe a man with something he can take anyway.
No, that was a part of the another one of those happy scenes, Dave.
I'll get some sipping liquor.
Yeah, that caught out.
And I think this should be on a T-shirt. Would you like a spit bath?
Bathing is not something that happens much.
But after this, if she don't look as fresh as a daisy behind an outhouse.
I think, did Bo say that?
Bo said that, yeah.
Yes, it was a good Bo
felt
line.
the connection. Well, it was kind of a one-way love affair, Bo and Mrs. Crocker,
Yes,
Catherine Crocker.
He had not
wanted
seen a woman like her before.
He wanted to win her over, but
he did.
Wasn't going to happen.
Well, you're Bo Hopkins against Burt Reynolds in a movie.
Even though Burt is playing hard to get.
Yes, he is.
Without question. It's a happy party, and then the turmoil. Bo fends Mrs. Crocker. Now we're at Cousin Eddie's house here or whatever.
Okay, yes, right.
So to move the plot along, it was at this place that somebody tried to kiss the woman, right? But somehow Bo and Jack Warden, Dawes and Billy Bowen.
Billy, yes.
They get in a fight to the death.
They get in a fight to the death where he basically beats Billy to where Billy has internal injuries, I would say. I don't think they were describing him as such, but then he's well enough to ride, which I'm sure, Dave, did not help the internal injuries. So they made it as far as they did, and then they set up camp. Grobert left the camp, and that's when the first group of natives come in, and he's not going to survive that one.
Now, Billy doesn't make it. Billy just kind of dies, right?
He just kind of dies quickly, along with their fourth member of the Grobert crew, the native guy who did try to help.
Somehow around a campfire, money is burned, but not all the money.
Yes. Basically, the native folks they're going to burn the money. It doesn't mean anything to them, so they're going to burn it. So they burn some of it, and then there's the requisite killing. And then, but Dawes is able to get away with a certain amount of the money.
More about the cat dancing dealio. We find out about Burt's kids. We actually meet Burt's kids, right?
We do. And the name Dream Speaker is the name of his kid.
George Hamilton is a real dud. Lee J. Cobb has compassion, and I have here a note here, and a real good working noggin.
Dave, first of all, Lee J. Cobb's never happy in any movie, and he was almost happy a couple times in this one.
Got a good voice.
Yes, so good. So good.
I have a note here. The couple lives happily ever after, but there were some things that happened later in the movie.
Yeah. No, this is...
So take us through from meeting Cousin Eddie, finding out about cat dancing, how the camps come together.
Grobert passes out, and Dawes comes back.
That's right. They go to an uninhabited mining town.
Right.
But it's got enough stuff to where they can cook and...
They can cook and
They
so
left them enough there.
They're there. They have a meal. Basically, she and Burt get together. Then Burt's taking a long nap. Dawes comes back. Basically, he rapes her. She stays quiet because she's afraid that he would kill Burt Reynolds, Jay. So Jay wakes up. Basically, he and Dawes get into the fight to the death. And, again, as much as Jack Warden, we love Jack. Jack's a bad guy in this movie, and Burt's the lead. So Jack's going to go down. So Jack dies. Kills Jack.
2 shots.
2 shots.
Yeah. 1 shot there,
Yeah, one shot to cool him down, I'd say, Dave.
Oh, boy.
And then
I sure hope I don't get shot there, Dave.
one shot that slowed him down for sure, Dave. And then the other one, well, reminded me a little bit of Miller's Crossing.
Yes.
I believe.
Or Sterling Hayden in The Godfather.
Oh, even better, Dave. Much better. So that was more to the upper region, and that finished off Dawes. So now what we have is Grobert's character. Grobert leaves. He has all the money. He took the money that Dawes has. He's got the money he has. He leaves it there and takes off. Okay, then the posse shows up. So it's George Hamilton, Willard Crocker, and it's LaChance and all the posse.
Lapchance.
Yeah, and Lapchance quickly discovers hey, here's all the money.
How did they have all the money when some of it burned?
I don't know, Dave. I think they didn't count it well enough. That's what I got to say.
My perfection-seeking self.
You want it to bring it
wait
closer.
a minute. Some of that money burned, and some of it just kind of flew away. And
also during this time, his son goes out with Catherine because his son knows where to find him, where he would be hiding. The Jay Gruber character at that point realizes basically his kids are much better off with the Shoshone native family. Mm-hmm. So they kind of have a moment to give that up. But the way this ends from there is, you're getting ready to take off. So they're going to maybe go, to your point, live happily ever after. We know from previous scenes that George Hamilton has a fancy gun, that it shoots long range. What happens then? He tags Burt. Burt goes like, my dad would have said cattywampus down the hill. Dave.
Yes.
He goes cattywampus down the hill over and over. And the Sarah Miles character goes running after him. At the same time, basically, the Willard Crocker character comes to get her and to finish Burt off, basically. And as opposed to earlier in the movie when she wouldn't shoot anybody, she very, very comfortably grabbed Burt's gun and she put two. She put two in the old man.
She aimed well.
So this happens. He goes down. And then Lapchance basically says, put Willard's body on the pack horse, but they leave the one horse that was her horse, right? They leave it. And then the last thing we see is them hugging.
So they have no money. That money's been taken away, right?
And they smell at this point, I think.
Yeah. Now, so is he not going to rob? What's he going to do? Is he going to pick up a trade? I'm not going to rob banks or rob trains anymore. I'm going to do something respectful. I'm going to be, like Michael Corleone would say, we're going to go legit.
We're going to go legit.
The Corleones are going to be totally legit. Anything else you want to say about the movie other than that John Williams did the soundtrack and
John Williams did the soundtrack.
It's
probably not in his top 25 movie soundtracks.
I thought it sounded kind of like a laxative commercial. I was kind of like...
I think John was doing the best he could with the material. I'm guessing there were a few iterations that he tried to liven it up in areas.
What's
and they
that
said,
one?
No.
X-Lax. They still make that?
I think they do. Dave, do they still make Doan's pills? Because Joe Garagiola used to sell me Doan's pills, Dave.
How about Geritol? They still make Geritol?
Dave. Where is it? I mean, those are magic. For
Shake and Bake? They still make Shake and Bake? And I helped. They still make that stuff?
Dave, I got to believe that stuff's still on the shelf. I've got to go look, man. Next time I'm...
Hopefully they've replaced it since the Welk show on the Geritol thing. It's over there. It's right over there.
Right. Kids.
Endorsed by Myron Florin. I don't know. Maybe during the filming of this movie, now here's the deal. Here's what I take from this.
Okay, Dave.
Here's what I take from this. I know a man lost his life. Okay. And that is bad.
Correct.
That's a bad thing. I am so sorry that Richard Whiting, is that his name? Oh, I'm sorry, David Whiting. I'm so sorry that David Whiting lost his life. That's not a good thing. I hate that. I hate that. But the fact that they stayed in the Gila Bend Travel Lodge is something that I I'm kind of enamored with. I kind of like that. They stayed at a travel lodge. They probably had to stay at the travel lodge. Probably not a lot of options back then.
Especially probably in this area, and they were commuting from there to the filming location. So it was probably the best combination of close and available, and whatever level of rugged, they made it their own.
We do know because I asked Alexa when Burt Reynolds' birthday is, February 11th, and unfortunately, David Whiting died on February 11th, 1973.
Ooh.
He was found dead in that Gila Bend Travel Lodge after the birthday party. The coroner ruled his death a drug overdose, even though he did have some wounds on his arms, and there is a backstory to where he may have done. I mean, I don't know. You can look at the video and all that, but there is some mystery, there is some intrigue, and at least 2 people on YouTube have brought up the possibility that Burt Reynolds had something to do with David Whiting's death in February of 1973 while they were filming The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing.
There are theories, Dave, and there are things, and Burt Reynolds and Sarah Miles gave statements after this, and it was documented that she was in Burt's room that night, and then she left Burt's room, and they got into it, and then he was dead the next morning, and she spent the night in Burt's room, and some people have theories, Dave. And, this was also during the era when MGM, the size of the movie industry, it does sound like they didn't want the schedule to be deviated from, basically. So there is some degree of, not manipulation maybe, but they at least got a favorable municipal situation, even, regarding the fact that somebody lost a life.
But the thing of it is, one thing we do know is that we will never know.
We will never know, Dave. They all went on to make more movies. And the quote, when they ask Burt about this movie, he says, quote, "There's nothing to talk about in cat dancing except that it brings me pain. So I'd rather not talk about it."
Now, is the pain the physical pain of fighting with Jack Warden?
It could be. It could be well, hopefully it has to do with the loss of David Whiting's life.
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form, or it could be the fact that the movie tanked.
So a lot of unpositive things to talk about. The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing, 1973, Dave, movie number 87, season 5.
Well, I was going to say, most of the time we qualify a recommendation. I don't know if I could recommend this even with a qualifier, Dave.
Yeah, I agree. You really don't have to watch it, but there is some good scenery.
Right.
Lee J. Cobb's voice is very good. George Hamilton has the baby
George
face.
Hamilton is George Hamilton.
His big movie, you think about George Hamilton, and we got to wrap this up. Well, we don't have to, but Love at First Bite.
Because there's Love at First Bite, and then there's, what's the one with Jim Carrey and Lauren Hutton? Okay, no, Dave, that's Love at First Bite, 79. Dave, let's flash forward to Once Bitten.
Once Bitten, not Love at First Bite. Lauren Hutton. You met her, right?
Did we do Once Bitten?
Well, no, but what movie was Lauren Hutton in? Was she in Hooper or something like that? Okay, I'm going to move the mic over to the magic world of what movies people have been in screen here. She was in Paper Lion.
Of course.
Paper Lion, 1968.
Paper Lion, Dave.
And she was in, as we mentioned, the aforementioned Once Bitten, not to be confused with Love at First Bite. Dave, we are on CrawfordsvillePete'sCast.podbean.com.
I have heard that, and shared that information with people I know.
We are also on the Fork Media app, which features the Fork Media stations, which includes, I should say, the 3 stations here in Crawfordsville. Like, share, and subscribe.
Please.
Apple, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube, and Podbean. Until next time, America, I'm Dave Peach.
I'm Dave Meyer.
Thanks for listening to the Crawfordsville Peachcast.
Thank you for listening to the Crawfordsville Peachcast. If you enjoyed it, follow the podcast and ring the bell so that way you'll always be up to date with the newest episodes. We'll see you next time.